Hey there, welcome back to week 3 of our Great Therapist Transformation. So today we're going to be talking about resonance, and this is kind of the energy that captures the therapeutic relationship, and it's part of the Relational Neuroscience Foundation of Therapy, which is part presence, attunement, resonance, and trust. So I am at my office today. Grizzly is in the background right there. She's in her kennel taking a little morning nap. So you may see her get up and walk around, and she might even actually bark. So the other week, she burst into somebody's office and was greeting people, and it was pretty exciting. So I'm going to get ready. I'm going to share my screen, and we will go from there. Okay, here we are at the Great Therapist Transformation. So this is just a series this month to help us get focused and kind of re-energize and go back to the basics of our training and just having that really solid therapeutic relationship, because I think everybody now, after 19, 20 months of dealing with the mental health impacts of a pandemic, we're probably all a little tired and can use this kind of rejuvenation for our practices. So you know who I am by now. I'm the founder of the group, the Resilience-Based Psychotherapy Group. This is also going to my personal page and my business page. So we're kind of everywhere. So today we're going to do that quick review of moving from a fearful therapist to a calm, confident therapist. We'll also do that quick review of resilience-based psychotherapy. And then we're going to get into our content on resonance. So again, those thoughts of that fearful therapist that kind of cycle through our minds, or that I don't have enough experience, I need that best intervention and I need to master it. The technique is most important. I have to apply this technique exactly as I've been taught it. I need confidence to feel more effective, or I just don't have the strengths or qualities that I need to be a really good therapist. So this leaves us avoiding tough cases and situations, getting nervous when we're talking with colleagues or in supervision and consultation, avoiding the parents of the child clients that we're working with, or the parents of the teen clients. We'll load up on more books, more trainings, but we still feel fearful and still feel like an imposter. So the calm, confident therapist is one that knows that it's more important to attune to their own responses and reactions than it is to have an intervention nailed down. And there are some interventions that you do have to follow the procedures or protocols that are more structured. But it's really that ability to attune to yourself that helps you be a calm, confident, and master therapist. Those twinges that we all have of, something's a little off here, or something's not right, that really kind of impacted me. A calm, confident therapist can use those to explore what that is, and it's probably something that's happening for the client. So they lean into difficult situations rather than pulling away. They collaborate with parents. They feel really good interacting with colleagues and supervisors. They're good at self-care, and they have this mindful curiosity with difficult cases. So how do we get there? So we use resilience-based psychotherapy. So this is a combination of interpersonal neurobiology and polyvagal theory. So we want to combine the neuroscience and relationships, so that relational neuroscience, to promote the growth and healing in therapy and to guide our sessions. And then polyvagal theory really is like the foundation of most therapies. It should be in there, and we should all be using it because it creates a sense of safety for the client. So relational neuroscience talks about this part. So it's when you have presence in a therapy setting, when you're attuned with the client and with yourself, when there's resonance or energy between you and the client, this is what you add together to have a foundation of trust in the therapeutic relationship and really to create safety for the client. So we're going to look at what is resonance. So it's based on the foundation of both presence and attunement. So those three, presence, attunement, and resonance, they all build on each other. And you can't really have resonance without having presence and attunement. So it's the energy. It sounds a little woo-woo, but it's not. There's actually people that are doing brain research, doing EEGs with brain spotting, where they're measuring the brain waves of the therapist and client, and they are aligning. There's some really excellent research from Santiago Brand that I would highly suggest if you're interested in learning more about this. So it's that energy exchange between the therapist and client, and it really embodies the therapy relationship. And it gives a sense of we in the therapy sessions. So it's us working together, collaborating, and helping basically support the goals of the client. So what it's based on is this inner brain synchronicity. And so this is the adaptation of neural firing to be in sync with another person's brain. And some of the research I've done says that you've had to have had communication with another person. So you've probably had to be able to have a personal experience with someone and interact with them in order to get this inner brain synchronicity. And it's that adaptation of the neural firing. So it's those mirror neurons and all of that kind of comes together. So when you have presence and attunement, the neural firing of the therapist and the client will synchronize. So they'll get kind of on the same wavelength, or the same parts of the brain will be kind of active or lit up. So you can also see this in sports, dancing, music, where people are really synchronized in their, like with sports or dancing. If you think about ice skating, they have to have that inner brain synchronicity to know kind of where they are, their cues and all of that, to be able to do what they do. And it's kind of the same thing in therapy. So how does this develop? How does this interbrain synchronicity actually come about? It's through repeated interactions that are based on a high degree of attunement. So when we're really focused and aware of what's happening with our client and their responses, their reactions, and our own, we develop this inner brain synchronicity. So it's over the repeated experiences of this attunement that the therapist becomes a healthy attachment figure. And in saying that, it's not a healthy attachment figure like a parent. Sometimes we do reparent. We have that role kind of, but it's not the same thing as a parent, and we shouldn't be a primary attachment figure. But for some people, we may be the first person that they've truly been able to attach to. So it's being one of those healthy attachment figures and helping the client explore their behavior, their past, their relationships, who they see themselves as a person. So this is what Alan Shore calls right brain psychotherapy. This is doing psychotherapy right brain to right brain, and it's the dominant use of the right brain in therapy. So it's considered that because of the communication and connection is all implicit. It's not spoken out. It's something that's felt rather than seen or heard. It's nonverbal. It's a holistic, so it's an overall rather than a linear or sequential. It's also very intuitive. So clinical intuition is something that develops out of having this inner brain synchronicity and doing right brain psychotherapy. So it's not like crystal ball intuitive. It's more, oh, I wonder if this is happening, asking the client, and it's spot on. And it's also attachment based because a lot of attachment experiences, especially early in life, are all right-brained. So the requirements for us to have resonance in therapy and for our clients to have it is vulnerability and humility. So both the client and therapist, we need to be comfortable being both somewhat vulnerable in therapy and humble as well. So this is the safe, but not too safe. We want our clients to feel safe in our sessions, but we also want to push those barriers of the window of tolerance so they can kind of stretch their ability to tolerate distress and cope. So sometimes clients need to see an appropriate degree of vulnerability in us as the therapist, because they come in and they think like we shouldn't ever be angry or upset or have a bad day and think that we kind of function and cope perfectly, and nobody does. So we need to allow them to see a certain level of vulnerability with boundaries and appropriate therapeutic relationship boundaries. But we do need to be able to show them that we're human, and we have to have humility in order to engage in that rupture and repair cycle. So that rupture and repair is so critical for healing, in general, for overall well-being and healing, but it's also really important for people who've had significant relational trauma to experience that rupture and repair cycle and know that if you've had a rupture, it can be repaired and the relationship can stay intact. So the benefits of resonance are, again, that the client is seen and felt. There's a flow of therapy, and it feels that helps the client have this deep sense of being known. There's a shift in engagement, so they'll go from more of a cognitive thinking about things, listing things out, discussing things in their head, to a more motivated engagement. They'll be more passionate and emotional about their own therapy. There will also be mutual influence. So this is a higher degree of receptivity for both the client and therapist. It creates a lot of flow in sessions. And when you have this mutual influence, there's less power struggles, less kind of just going along with what the therapist says, but really not wanting to, not understanding or thinking that that intervention is a good fit. It's that back and forth where each person has equal investment in the relationship. So again, this is our relational neuroscience. Next week, we'll work on trust. There's your references. And I hope you have a beautiful day. I can feel that coming on. And I will see you next Monday.